first developed this strategy on a level 12 warrior. I would line up Benny, line of sight, through the door, throw a knife, and run over to the safe spot. On my level 12 warrior, I was fighting against a Defias smuggler, not a Defias trapper, so it didn't matter if they would throw knives at me or not, and I would just continue the kite. But for my level 1, I had to use a trapper and not a smuggler because the smuggler would just kill me with throwing weapons. And so it became a problem if the trapper was going to be within 20 yards because net is 20 yards distance. And so doing the knife throwing strat, there wasn't enough space or time to reliably and safely get to the safe spot without chancing just dying. My first practice character was about level 10, but I found out when I made my level 1 or level 2 practice character that Benny could just see me if I got too close. And so could this Harvest Watcher, but those things respawn in about 60 seconds, so you can't just reliably kill them and clear a spot. I thought about maybe trying to use engineering to throw a bomb just around the corner and try to split pull Benny, but it turns out that engineering requires level 5 to use, so I needed a new strategy for my level 1. I realized that I could attack this Defias trapper through the wall, sometimes, depending on the way they were pathed. That would still put them within the 20 yards, and they could still net me, so I needed to develop a different strategy. I tried hitting Benny through the wall. But he could just cut me down. I figured there was probably a way to try to manipulate these mobs to run around this side of the house. Here, let me try this side of the house, instead of just running through this little hole right here. And there is another safe spot on the back of this house. But if I didn't do it right, these mobs would split, and then again, I would just get hit by the net, or even just killed within this 20 yards range right here. Eventually, I discovered the successful strategy. Line up with this little board right here, jump and hit Benny. Step on, oh, sorry, that doesn't count. Step on this little safe spot here for a second, run to the left side of the window until they both step out of the front of the house. And then that should be good enough to set you up. But here's one more thing I'll have to tell you about. We need to talk about mob behavior, which is something you've probably noticed in a couple of these past clips. As far as I can tell, there's basically 4 different types of mob behavior, which is just different ways of them responding to, like, how long it takes for them to respond to your actions. And so I think there might even be options in between these 4 options, but it's basically they'll either react immediately, stand still for a second, and then react, or they might take a second, which I called overshoot, or they might take 2 seconds, which I call overshoot twice. This terminology all was developed with regards to over near the mine. So I'm going to jump and stab Benny. He reacted immediately. It might take a minute for the ad to catch up, which is why I step on the safe spot for a second. And that looks like an okay distance. You could see how it took him maybe a second or 2 there to catch up. I would call that a standstill behavior. And so this time, totally fine. You know, they could not net me. But as you saw the last time, basically basically they did an overshoot because it took them too long to register that I was on the safe spot on the back of the house. And so because of that, they ran too close, which would cut into my 20 yards range of safety. So not only do you have to get the correct spawn, you have to react to Benny's behavior, and you have to get these mobs to behave correctly. And even now in this safe spot, they might overshoot and run about this close. I pretty much wouldn't go for it unless they're around the corner. So the trapper's around the corner, so this will probably be fine. Benny might be kind of close though. Oh, so they run around the house. So you really have to thread the needle correctly, even just to start the challenge. Because if you don't, there's too much RNG, and you might just get netted and die. And you need to step back from the window because if you're touching the window, Benny can actually stab you back through the window, and Benny can just straight up one-shot you. And so you run on the back of the farmhouse, which counts as an evade spot. As far as I can tell, the leash timer and the evade timer are separate. Missing doesn't, as far as I can tell, missing does not count to refresh leash. Also remember that goblin boots can explode at any time, and you fall down and get stunned and die. Go up on this corner, duck your head by cutting in, jump and do a 180. Sorry, I forgot to clear. So basically you want to stand here and jump right before the Defias Trapper is going to cross that threshold, because they're going to keep running probably at you until you land. And there's also a little bit of hang time where it takes time for the projectile to pass through the air. And so by standing here until about she's just about to cross, or you could jump. And so with regards to those 4 mob behaviors that we were just talking about on the side of the house, if you could control the way, I'm going to act as the mob, if you could control the way that the mob was going to behave every time, this would be super easy, because you could either just make them do the little stand still right here and then turn around, or you could make them like turn around immediately right here, or stop and think about it and then turn around right here. Mob behavior's pretty easy to deal with, because you just do a little jump and throw at them right there, and then they behave properly. And the Defias Trapper would always be basically behind this wall right here, or behind this wall right here. And so as I was developing the strategy, I had many deaths wherein I tried to keep them at that perfect, like, that perfect magic pixel spacing, that perfect tipper spacing. But they would perform one of the other 2 mob behaviors, which I will demonstrate now, which is to overshoot and turn around, or to overshoot twice and then turn around. And if I was trying to keep the 2 mobs at that perfect pixel spacing, and they overshoot just a little bit, basically they would turn around and throw the net from their perfect pixel spacing, which is just the perfect spacing for me to take the net and die. They would run right around here and then come get me with about 1 second left. And so, because it was not, in my experience, it was not possible to reliably force the mob to behave a certain way with regards to one of their 4 behaviors, I eventually got the idea of, let's do the opposite. Instead of trying to keep them right here, let's bank on the fact that they're going to overshoot and try to keep them about here to here as much as possible. Because the more time that they spend here, we're trying to like draw the foul. Basically, we're trying to get the net cast on us in a favorable position. So the more time they are here, the less time they are right here, even though there's still a chance you'll die. And so that ended up being a much better strategy, because they would probably net right here, and that's no problem. It would take them the 5 seconds or whatever, even just to get about right here. And so that became the new strat, and I'll go pull another one. Oh, there's one more thing I want to tell you about before I pull another. The left side and the right side are not even and not equal. This left side's a little bit more of your safer side, because you can, throw as soon as they get past this threshold, but they can't net you until about here. So you have this tiny little leeway right here. Another thing you have to take into account is like how synchronized or like how desynchronized your 2 mobs are. If you have a slight desync, I feel like that's perfect. If you have too large of a desync, eventually one of them will get caught on the corner too much, and you'll have to reset or die. But a very small desync, I think that's exactly what you want. And then if they're stacked right on top of each other, that's also something you can win from. And so if they just cast a net, or if they have a slight desync, you can kind of you can kind of throw your knife and then do the little jump. But if you're on this side, you don't wanna try and get greedy and throw a throwing dagger on this side because if you can see them, they could see you and they'll net you. So this time around we have a small desync so we can throw the knife and then jump and we're still just trying to catch a good net. I think that should be fine. I would also recommend binding a strafe left and a jump to a separate set of keys. Because I use WASD and spacebar for the most of the time, and then sometimes you get caught right up here in this little corner and you don't have that much room, and it's just easier to smash the two keys together. Pardon me. And so just most recently you saw me parry a hit from Benny. That was sloppy play, but just before that you saw me take a hit from the Defias Trapper. If they overshoot when you jump back from the rock, there's a chance that they're gonna keep running at you, like that was a big overshoot just now. And if they run all the way close enough to where they can hit you, they don't care that you're on the other side of the building. If they're in range, they're gonna hit you. And so you also have to take into account leeway, like if you're still moving, that gives them an increased I got a bit distracted there, sorry. Another thing that you have to watch out for is every once in a while these two mobs will like, I've talked about synchronization, they will desynchronize themselves, like one of them will perform one mob behavior and one of them will not. As you can see, these mobs are pretty stacked up right now, so I have to play it safe on the left side. I can't take that greedy throw at Benny. I don't know why they do and don't net sometimes. Online it says there's no cooldown for net, but there seems to be like a repeatable behavior wherein after they net you can get about two back and forths before you have to start worrying about the net again. So there's the net. And then I would probably do three more knives before I would reset behavior back to being scared. I'm not sure exactly how much time you have, and so I would go back to safe behavior instead of risky behavior. Again, you can only perform greedy throws on the left side on the roof, never on the right side on the rock. So I'm not sure if that was leeway or if that was just because of mob behavior that she got close enough to hit me. There's a chance that you're going to miss so much that the mob just resets and there's not really anything you could do about that. So that would be like a double overshoot there, what we just saw. Every once in a while, you might have to perform like some advanced behavior, i.e. you might have to like switch targets just to maintain the leash. At 30%, Benny will become slow. I've had right there, where you just saw him take the miss. That's the best spot that I've found to try to hit Benny right there when he's about to hit 30%. So this might be like a tip or bad net for us. Very close. And so because of the weird timing, I'll just hop off and do a little stutter step there in the no-no zone, which would only be a safe action because they just threw the net, and so therefore it's on that secret the secret cooldown basically. Like the net might not have a cooldown, but there might be some advanced mob decision making going on that's basically makes it the same. So here I'll switch target to maintain the leash. Benny's at 20%. At around 16%, he will start to run in fear. Again, right up top, that same spot right here. That's about where you want him to start running in fear. You can see if he's done so when he stops targeting you. And so basically you're just going to keep the same strategy of trying to draw the foul until Benny stops running in fear. And then, again, there's like a lot of RNG on this challenge. Benny might just run in a bad direction, and so it's all up to chance. You just gotta make Benny reset in a good spot, and then just try your best from there. Got a bunch of misses going and Benny's slow, so I'll probably switch target here just to maintain the leash. I've had some, not now, I've had some situations where these two mobs were basically in a opposite position and you have to try to just take shots. Reset, game's hard. There's some situations wherein the Defias Trapper might be kind of like up here and Benny is slow and you got Benny stuck in this little corridor right here. And because Benny is slow, he will never run around fast up top. If that's the situation, you just gotta try your best to take your shots right here and then jump away before the Defias Trapper can run around that corner. Because even here they can cast the net on you. As far as this structure goes, this is kind of like your little triangle of where you want to hang out. So you can scoot a bit off to this side, but you want to avoid falling off. I also want to show you real quickly basically how to clear the mobs out for your level 1, just in case you're trying to do a level 1 challenge. I ignore the robots because they respawn in about 60 seconds, but something that you gotta watch out for are these coyotes. I feel like the coyotes have kind of like a weird spawn pattern in this zone in that they're not all up at the same time, and in my experience, and then as soon as you kill a coyote, one of them will respawn in another location. So I just kill a couple of extras to make sure, because the two that you really got to watch out for are that one on the edge of the farm that I just showed you that almost acts kind of like a scripted mob in some ways because it goes to go kill the chicken. These two coyotes, not a big problem. That bird you should definitely take care of though. But oh, make sure you go over here and kill this patrol real quick. It walks around the barn. And I take out this pig so I don't accidentally click on it. But the other coyotes you really got to watch out for are these two over here. And so, for instance, I did a lot of my practice on a dead Season of Discovery server. I thought that these mobs just didn't spawn on SOD, but what actually happened was nobody was recycling the mobs, and so they just didn't spawn until I did my initial clear, killed that one over in the corner by the farm, and then those guys popped up immediately. So those would be pretty much all the mobs that you want to kill before you get over here to the Django Load Mine. And over here I would recommend killing a lot, like making a large safe spot, because if you don't and you fall off the roof, you're pretty much dead. But I will show you a couple of other safe spots here in a second. And so if you clear enough of these mobs, you can clear your way to another safe spot. And so therefore falling off the roof with your level 1 will not instantly equal death. You can always just go reset and try again. And you want to clear into the mine just so you can easily reset in this area without having too much problem. And the last two mobs that you want to kill here are these two mobs that spawn in these two locations, because these two mobs can see you at level 1, even if you're all the way up top here in the corner. There's one safe spot up here, where if you fall off the roof over here, you can just run around. You have to come up onto this hill to gain enough height to gain access to the wall jump there on the roof. But there's an even better one actually, which is all the way back in here. Yeah, you just saw me clear these mobs, but that was pre-recorded footage. You just jump behind these boxes, and they can't get you. Now, the last thing I want to talk to you about is rooting and experience management. This is pretty much only if you ever wanted to try to kill Benny at level 1 and still be level 1 after getting your kill. The route that I chose, I'm not going to show you the whole thing, but the route that I chose, I cleared a path on my main and then logged out. Also, by the way, if you have friends or if you pay for 2 accounts, this might not qualify for you as well. But basically, I would clear a path on my main, and this is the path I took. Yeah, and so for exploring a new area, you will gain 55 experience at level 1. And so the experience I chose to gain was, you take the secret little path, you go to Stormwind, take that to the Deep Run Tram. You get 55 experience for Stormwind. Go to the Deep Run Tram, explore Ironforge, which is where I got Soul of Iron buff. On your way back through the Deep Run Tram, which, by the way, does not grant experience, you can train up your weapon skills on the rats in there. And so then the third place I explored was, I would leave Stormwind, cut down just through this lake and through this river, so that I would avoid exploring Goldshire. And then you must explore the forest's edge, excuse me, which would be your third area of exploring. And then once you get over here to Westfall, this is the path I took. I would clear out all of these beasts, and then I would run into this small valley between these two mountains. I'm sure there's a cooler word for it. And I would just shoot straight, after killing this bird, I would shoot straight to this signpost. And from here, as long as you stay to the left of this fence, you have about 1 or 2 body widths. You can avoid exploring. I think this one's the Saldine Farmstead, and then you can also avoid exploring the Jansen Farmstead as well, until you come over here, and then you explore the Frobrow Pumpkin Farm, and then also the Jengalode Mine. And by only exploring those 5 areas at level 1, you will have 69 nice % experience. And if you kill Benny, he gives you 120, which would take you exactly to 99%, which is quite a serendipitous discovery for me. So that's how I learned how to solo Benny on a level 1 rogue. I hope you thought that breakdown of the mechanics was interesting, and I thank you for watching.